everyone. Thank you for joining our session today. Today we will be talking about the Office 365 email enhancement that we believe is going to make your organization smart and secure. I'm Leena Seth, Senior Program Manager in Exchange Online Transport Team.
And I'm Kevin Shaughnessy, also Senior Program Manager on Exchange Online Transport Team. Today, we're going to be talking about a number of things about email enhancements for end users and for administrators. We're going to talk a little bit about what moving to the cloud helps empower in terms of these types of capabilities. For the email enhancements for the end users, we're going to be talking about plus addressing, sending from proxy address or an alias. We're going to be talking about the new message recall in Office 365. And then we're going to be talking about reply all storm protection. For the email enhancements for admins, we'll be talking about the new modern EAC and the mail flow components that are going to be a part of that, customizable recipient limits, and the securing of SMTP auth client submissions project that we have going on that you're going to want to know a little bit about. So before we get too far, I want to talk about moving to the cloud. A lot of you have already moved to the cloud or part your way there. Some of you may have actually been not started yet. And sometimes this moving to the cloud thing, you know, besides some great possibilities and opportunities, there can be a little grief that goes with it. And if you're familiar with the 5 stages of grief, I like to think of this as the 5 stages of cloud grief. First, there's denial. Like, no way, we can't move to the cloud. There's no way it can handle all the complex stuff that we do, right? And then the next is anger. I'll show them that it's going to fail, it's not going to work at all. And you work your way through these stages of grief and you finally kind of come to acceptance and say, well, gee, you know, that hardware, not having to deal with that, that's pretty nice. And the cost, yeah, that's great. And hey, I'm learning new things. I get to work with SharePoint and I get to work with Teams now, expanding the roster of my capabilities as well. So email admins often are probably the ones who kind of go through this, but there are a lot of great opportunities at the end stage here. And once that's sort of understood, then we can start exploring what some of those possibilities are. So moving to the cloud, empowering the possibilities with email. So in the Office 365 service, we've been doing this a number of years now, anywhere between, say, 7 and 9 years, depending on when you start. And the service maturity that we now have in the service after all that time has really helped to enable a lot of different things that we're able to do now. When you add on the vast scale, I mean, we're talking, what was it, 26 billion messages, or no, I'm sorry, it was like 200 billion messages per month that we're actually delivering. And that doesn't count messages we're sending external to the organization or messages that are coming into the organization. But I remember years ago, about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, when we hit the 1 million milestone, and it took us about a year to get there. And we've obviously scaled out well beyond that with millions of mailboxes in the cloud and billions of messages processed. And this provides a number of great opportunities for us to be able to take that information and the extensive telemetry that we get from all of that and create some new possibilities and opportunities. A couple years ago, our colleagues came out and we talked here at Ignite about the new reports that we started to introduce as the Mailflow team in the Security and Compliance Center, the Mailflow dashboard. We have reports, we have insights. These are things where we take bits of telemetry from the service and we say, hey, let's correlate those and come up with something that's of interest or value to you. So for example, we noticed that your MX record changed recently. And we also noticed that the domain for which you changed that MX record, that mail flow for that domain changed in volume. It dropped significantly. You probably have some misconfiguration of your MX record. Here's how you should go take a look at that. So that's an insight that we introduced. And we have multiple insights like that and remediations, both automated and guided, that can help you to better understand what's going on in your for your organization's mail flow and to how to better fix it and get some insight into what's going on that you might want to be aware of. But this is a journey for us. And as the transport team, we're the pipeline, right? We are the plumbing, but we do so much more. We're bringing these types of end user and administrative capabilities to you, and we're just getting started. So what some of this service maturity and scale and extensive telemetry is allowing us to do is to expand the capabilities that we have and to deliver more knobs and dials for the administrator to get a little more visibility, more control over the environment, similar to more of what you had when you were on premises. Now, let me start off with some of the email enhancements for end users. Plus addressing. Plus addressing allows you to take an email address, standard email address, add a plus suffix to that local part, and now you can do all kinds of interesting things using inbox rules when messages that are sent to that alias are sent to you. So, for example, if you go up to a website, like in this case, I've got motherbones.com, a fictitious website that we've got, and I want to sign up for a newsletter there. And our canonical end user, Kim Akers, she's working for realtruthpr.com. Perhaps no one recognizes the irony in that, realtruthpr.com. But Kim, she works for the PR firm, and normally when she'd sign up for this newsletter, she would just say Kim Akers at realtruthpr.com. But by using a plus address, she adds that plus suffix to the right of her standard name, so Kim Akers plus Mother Bones at realtruthpr.com. And now she can create an inbox rule that says when a message gets sent to that alias, now let's do something with that. Let's route that to a specific folder, motherbones.com folder that she creates in her inbox. And then all the email addresses, all the email that is sent to that plus address now get routed to that automatically. And you can see on the right-hand side that there's a couple emails that were sent from Mother Bones, and they routed there directly. Now, but you notice one other one here, that this one is from Contoso Loans. And it's like, well, wait a second. I thought this was the Mother Bones folder and for Mother Bones email being sent to me. Well, what this indicates is that, hey, this was sent to Kim Akers plus Mother Bones, but yet it came in, but yet it wasn't Mother Bones. So what we can now surmise is that this is a piece of spam, and that Mother Bones either accidentally leaked that email address to them, or perhaps more likely sold it to a third-party marketing service who has very valuable information they want to send to you, I'm sure. And you got a piece of spam here. And so you can now identify the source of that particular leak. So it's great for inbox management. Plus addressing is also great for sales and marketing campaigns. So you can use a particular one with a plus and say, oh, marketing, campaign number 1. And when people reply back, it'll come directly to that. And it's great to be able to identify the source of those kinds of leaks. So that's plus addressing in Office 365. Like most of the features that we're going to be talking about today, this will be available in perhaps the first half of 2020 calendar year, maybe slipping into the third quarter. But we expect that to be coming out during that time. Send-from-proxy address, or alias. So the current behavior, you're all familiar with a proxy address. I've got my primary email address, kevinsha@microsoft.com. I might have secondary aliases like, well, kevin.shaughnessy@microsoft.com. And I might have some other ones as well. Proxy addresses are really useful for a variety of scenarios. Scenarios such as, like, I'm part of the comms team, or Kim's part of the comms team, and she wants to send as comms team. Instead of at Kim Akers. So the current behavior, we don't in Outlook nor in OA or Outlook on the web, we don't support natively being able to select a proxy address, a secondary address from those. Now, there is a third-party add-in, or there may be more, but the one that I'm familiar with is an add-in into Outlook called Proxy. So I just undo that. We will now pause for technical difficulties. Okay. There we go. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, now tone down. Now, speak quietly. Inside voice again. All right, so that's one of the issues. So you got two issues. You can't natively select it, and the recipient, if it's internal to the organization, is going to end up seeing the primary address. So sending from proxy address, what we're going to be doing is we've worked with our colleagues on the Outlook web access team, or the Outlook, on the web team, and they will be introducing the ability to select a proxy address directly from within OA. And so it'll look something like this, where you click the from, and then you'll get a drop-down list, and you can select from one of the different addresses there and be able to send to it. In addition, on the back end, in terms of the attribution to the correct recipient, we will actually then end up displaying the information correctly for the from and the reply to when the recipient gets it. So this has been a long-standing, problem that we've had for quite a long time. And one of the things that we as a transport team are doing, because we're usually a behind-the-scenes type of team, we're plumbing. You don't really care unless it ain't working, right? Kind of like the lights. But it gives us the opportunity, or affords us the opportunity, to take some of those things that have been kind of nagging at folks for quite a while, and hey, let's do something about that, right? So this is one thing that we're doing, and a couple of these things that we're going to be talking about are in a similar fashion, similar vein as well. Thank you. So the next one that actually falls very well into that category is message recall. Anyone ever try to use message recall? Fess up, we've all goofed, right? Yeah, we do. And when you try to use message recall, what's the next thing you do? Yeah, you pray for the best result possible, and unfortunately, it doesn't always work. In fact, mostly it doesn't work. A lot of the time, it doesn't work. There are some reasons why specifically, and I'll tell, like, for example, if the message was read by the recipient, we're not going to recall that message. The Outlook feature will not recall the message. And that's by design, and after sitting in a dark room with our legal team for 4 hours, I am convinced that we will still not do that, because they have said once the message has been read, the ownership of that belongs really to the recipient. Though it'll be an ongoing conversation, we'll see if we can do something more about that. But message recall in Office 365 actually now works better. It doesn't work 100%, but it works 100% better. And by that, I mean the success rate is actually doubled. And the reason for that is we're cloud-based now. This is the cloud empowering these capabilities, and we can do things there that we couldn't do very well, say, in terms of the client or in terms of on-premises. It's client agnostic, so no longer will the recipient have to be using Outlook in order for it to work. And in addition, if you ever have used it, you know that for each recipient for which it was trying to recall, you'll get an individual email message, and that isn't bad when it says, oh, it worked for John, oh, it didn't work for Sue. And that's okay if you got like 10 different people, but if you've got more than that, then it becomes very unwieldy and difficult to find, especially for those people that you care most about. Oh, your manager, and the chain all the way up to the VP for whom you accidentally sent, this message that you didn't mean to. So we've got an aggregate report now that'll show you that at a one-glance type fashion to make it much simpler for you to be able to see that. The Outlook message recall, the current behavior, this is kind of what it looks like. When you recall a message, a recall message is generated. Those gets delivered to the inboxes in O365, and then when the clients sync, only Outlook can understand it and do something with it, and for only Outlook for Windows is it actually recalled. For OA, for mobile devices, for Outlook on the Mac, for any other clients, it doesn't work. It just fails, right? And this is where we get that doubling, because in Office 365 message recall, we have a message recall agent on each of the mailbox servers, intercepting that message, and now we go in and we just nuke that message in the mailbox. I mean, when I say nuke, I mean we're more gentle about it than that. But we do go ahead and recall the message or drop the message from the mailbox. And then when the clients sync, then the message is gone. It's recalled, right? So it doesn't matter which client you're using, it is actually recalled. Now with so many people, you might have seen the Teams session earlier, Teams for Mobile session earlier, and so many people are using mobile now for their email, and now this will actually work for mobile clients as well, because it's client agnostic, because it's in the cloud. That's where we're doing it, and that's what the cloud empowers, this type of capability. So that's message recall, the functionality itself. Now the status report that I was talking about, when you do that recall, we'll send you a notification that says, hey, here's the recall status report. You recently tried to recall a message. Click on this link down here in the number 3 section, and that will take you to a status report. And here you just got the envelope information, and then recalled, pending, and failed statuses. And there you can go ahead and expand, and you can collapse, and see basically whoever it is that you're looking for, particularly for whom it's failed, as well as get the aggregate view. And you can search for it as well for individuals to make sure you know what's going on with them. So that is message recall in Office 365. That again, we're looking at later part of H2, later part of the calendar year H2 2020, maybe slipping again into Q3. So that is message recall. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about before I hand it over to Lena, where you can actually learn something, because she's going to tell you all the really good stuff, I am going to tell you about reply all storm protection. Now, everyone know what a reply all mail storm is? Yeah, I thought, wow, okay. We sometimes think that, oh, reply all storms don't happen, but actually they do happen a lot, as you all can attest, right? So a reply all mail storm, someone sends a mail to a DL or a large, email that has a large number of members on it, and saying, hey, take me off of this. I don't want to be on it anymore, typically, that type of a thing. And then people start replying, like, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. I don't want to be on it. Hey, take me off. Hey, stop it, right? And insanity ensues, because we're human beings and it's like an itch you have to scratch. You must reply all and say something, right? So that is exactly how things work with this, and it continues to happen. Now, the thing is that this has been a long-standing problem that has its origins a long time ago. And I'm going to need your help with this, because I wasn't able to actually finish some of this slide. So here's what I'd like for you to do. I want the left half of the audience, if you will, please humor me and stay with me, because I swear it'll be worth it. Left half of the audience, I want you to make the sound of ominous science fiction horror movie. The Demogorgon is about to kill Barbara from Stranger Things. That kind of a come on, do it with me. The left side. Good. Excellent. The right, keep it up. Don't waver. The right side, I want you to make the sound of wind. Keep it up. Excellent. In the beginning, a long time ago, 1997, in the far reaches of the northwest town of Redmond, at a place called Microsoft, there was a storm of intense intensity and devastation the world had never seen before, a reply all storm that came to be known as Bedlam DL3. Excellent. Thank you so much for contributing. You are not just seeing a presentation, you are part of it. So thank you so much. Bedlam DL3, the story. Anyone know that name, Bedlam DL3? heard about it. So Bedlam DL3 was back in 1997. We had 4 different DLs that the Microsoft IT department had created, and one of them was called Bedlam DL3, and each of these 4 had 1/4 of the members, the employees at Microsoft. So there's about 13,000 members on this, and one day, employee X, as we shall call him, he took a look at this and said, hey, why am I on this alias? I don't see any members on it, I don't see owner for it. Let me just email the DL and ask to be taken off, right? And this was the start of the chaos that ensued. And then soon other people started chiming in saying, yeah, take me off too. And other people, me too. And then other people, the heroes, I suggest you stop emailing everybody because it's really going to be putting a burden on the email system. That's right. Joe was absolutely right. Stop it, people. And they're all using reply all, of course, right? And then, of course, people are like, stop the insanity. And that whole incident, there was like, what does it say here? 15 million messages generated in 1 hour, and I'm so blind, 195 gigabytes worth of data during that time, and all within an hour. It took 2 days to clean it up, brought the service down to a crawl, and it was quite the phenomenon at Microsoft, but the press got wind of it. It was the first big reply all storm that was published, and some of the post-incident actions, Exchange team did a number of things. We added customizable recipient limits, added sender DL restrictions, and added hidden DLs so that people like employee X could not look at a DL and see that they're on it if it's not something that they really should know about. And of course, because it's Microsoft in the 90s, we created a t-shirt for it, and that t-shirt said, I survived Bedlam 3, and on the backside, me too. And so that is the story of Bedlam DL3, but it was the first reply all storm, and the rest of you have all experienced these probably as well. And so we're introducing something called reply all storm protection. And what we're going to do is we're going to stop the insanity before it goes too far. We might let it percolate a little bit, but we're going to stop it in its tracks before it goes too far. And our approach is we're going to identify a reply all storm or a potential reply all storm, and then we're going to temporarily block people from replying all to it and send them an NDR. And the NDR is going to look something like this. Hey, the conversation is too busy, too many people, don't reply all. We'll keep that in place for a couple hours, let people cool down, and then, hopefully by the time the temporary block goes off, it will have thwarted the problem. And a couple of the criteria that we're looking at right now, but come and talk to me later if you think we should do something different. Same conversation thread, 30 replies to all or most recipients within an hour, and sent to more than 5,000 recipients. So I suspect that a lot of folks are going to say, wow, some of those are too high, and I think they are. And I'm sure by the time we release this, we'll drop them down. I see some people nodding their heads already, right? I think we'll see that drop. But yeah, come see me at the booth later on or afterwards and let me know what you think. So that is the email enhancements for users that we talked about, the plus addressing, send-from-proxy address, message recall, and reply all storm protection. And now I'm going to turn it over to Lena, and she is going to tell you all about the email enhancements for admins.
Okay, I don't know. Thanks, Kevin. So far you have seen all the email enhancements that we are targeting for user, and now I'm going to talk about few scenarios for the admin space. So I'm going to talk about the 3 areas. The one is the modern Exchange Admin Center, second is customizable recipient limit, and the third is disabling SMTP auth client submission by default. Now, talking about the first area, which is modern Exchange Admin Center and why we needed to move there, thinking about all the challenges that an email administrator faces today in order to manage the mail flow health for their organization, the current mail flow experience is not so cohesive with the other admin portals that we have in M365. That makes things a little harder to find as it's not intuitive. You may be knowing the existing Exchange Admin Center is little dated, the UI is not up to date, and the most importantly, the mail flow experience seems to be a little fragmented. And what I mean by that, I'm going to take a quick example. Let's imagine you are an admin of an organization who has few mailboxes hosted on M365 and few mailboxes are on-prem. Now, in order to establish mail flow between the two organizations or two environment, you would have to create a connector. How many of you here are familiar with connectors? Awesome, a lot of you. For those who don't know, connectors are a collection of instructions that enables a tenant admin to establish mail flow between your on-prem and M365 emails, your on-prem email server and M365. So, in order to create a connector, you would come to Exchange Admin Center. This is the existing view. You will look for the mail flow section. Under mail flow, on the right-hand side, you can see all the mail flow related features like message trace, accepted domain, remote domain, and connectors. And as expected, you will see the connector here, and you will create connector. But once the connector has been created, you would like to see the traffic information, like the mail flow traffic information that you have just created on that connector. But where do you find that information? You look around in EAC and you can't find any report over there. And you are wondering where all the mail flow reports are. So you are stuck over there, you are looking around, you go to the documentations, and then eventually you figure it out that mail flow reports are not in EAC, but they are in security and compliance portal, which is a different portal than EAC. And there also you will find another mail flow section which has few bits of the mail flow. For example, you can see on the screen the mail flow dashboard that provides all the mail flow reports and insights, and message trace, which is here as well. And you will look into this mail flow map, which is going to give you the connector traffic information to finish your task. Now, looking at this experience, wouldn't it be nice if we can have all the mail flow related activities located in one centralized location, right? Yes, we heard your feedback, and with that, we are bringing you new, improved, centralized Exchange Online Admin experience. So with this new EAC, it is going to provide improvement in 3 areas. The first is, it is going to provide you a cohesive experience. It will be very similar to what the other admin portals are providing, the common controls that we have. That's the one area. Second, a modern UI, which all of you have requested so many times. The modern UI, which is going to give you the consistent look and feel, which will be similar to other admin portals. And lastly, a more logically organized mail flow experience. The fragmented experience that we just saw, we are going to be moving mail flow reports and insights from security and compliance portal to EAC portal, where all the mail flow activities happen. And we will be converging the message trace as well. So very quickly, I'm going to demo the new EAC and give you the sneak peek. Okay, so before we go into the demo, I would like to say that this is work in progress, and you might see some changes before the EAC goes live, like general available. So I'm going to take you to the same scenario that I just showed you as a fragmented experience, how it will look like into the new EAC. In order to create a connector, you will go into the mail flow section. You can see the connector option there. You would click on add a connector, and through a wizard experience, you will be able to create a connector there. Once the connector has been created, you can immediately go to the home page, and under home page, you will see all the mail flow reports and insights. And this particular report, mail flow for past week, this is the report where you can click and you can see the connector information. And you can see the connector that you have created. You can click on that name, and you can see all the mail flow traffic that is happening over there. So while we are on this new EAC, I would also like to give you a quick demo on the message trace. I'm assuming, how many of you know the message trace functionality here? Yes, I expected so. So a lot of you, message trace is one of the best tool for, and it's a best friend for, I would say, email administrator. Message trace provides you, it enables a tenant admin or email administrator to monitor the mail flow health for their organization. It provides you a summary report of emails with different statuses, like emails that are pending or that are delivered or are failed for some reason, and you can go in detail and see what exactly happened. So it helps you to troubleshoot the issue. So as I said, we will be converging the message trace experience from what we have in existing EAC and what we have in security and compliance area. In the portal, security and compliance portal. You can see here under message trace, we will have all those functionality here as well. For example, clicking on default query will give you all the queries that are most used. Custom queries where you can create your own queries and save it to be used later. Auto-saved queries that gives you queries that last 10 queries that were run. And downloadable reports that are message trace reports that go back further than 10 days. Now, I would like to quickly take a scenario here. Let's say you are an admin and you want to look into the traffic information for your organization and you want to see all the emails that have been sent from your primary domain in last 1 day. Now, for that scenario, and which is a very common scenario, you would come into default query. And it's going to load in a minute. Come on. Okay, there we go. So the first one, which says message sent from my primary domain in last 1 day, I'm going to search. So admin is looking into the report for the last 1 day. And now looking at this report, immediately they can realize that something is suspicious here. One user seems to be sending a lot of email messages to rest of the users in their organization. The tenant admin becomes suspicious. He feels that looks like the account has got hacked. The tenant admin goes back to the account user and confirms the suspicion, and the suspicion was right. Tenant admin immediately, email administrator immediately changes the password and thinks about other protective actions, like for example, maybe creating a transport rule that may auto-delete the messages with the same subject line in case if some messages have not been delivered yet. But while doing all this investigation and after closing the incident, the tenant admin is thinking about how in future such kind of scenarios can be protected, or if not protected, at least how to minimize the impact of a hacked scenario. Now with that same thought, it's 5. We are bringing to you the next feature for the email administrator, and that is customizable recipient limit. As you may be knowing, the Exchange Online currently has a fixed number of recipient limit currently, which is 500. Going forward, we are making this recipient limit customizable. And by making it customizable, we will be enabling 2 main scenarios for admins. The one is by reducing this limit, we believe admins can control the amount of email messages that can be sent from one account, and thereby minimizing the impact in case an account gets hacked, because if a spammer hacks an account, he will not be able to reach to a lot of people in one shot. And at the same time, enabling or increasing the limit on a mailbox. If you have scenarios where you want to reach out to a lot of people in your organization for scenarios like large mailing, you would be able to do that. But I would like to stress that in case of increasing the limit, the usage should be done in a wisely manner, that in case you need it, then only increase it because of the obvious reasons, because you will be increasing the limit and all that sort of things. So once this feature will be available, which is around Q2 of next 2020, admins will be able to select a range between 1 and 1,000. They can able to select, they can able to set this limit per mailbox, and they can also bulk edit all the existing mailboxes. And for any new mailboxes, they can also set a default. So that is the second feature that we are bringing into the admin space. And after that, the last one is disabling SMTP auth client submission by default. So SMTP auth, which is also called SMTP auth client submission, this is a protocol that is used by email clients, and majority of these clients are devices like multifunction printers or applications that send automated email messages to the large users. And SMTP auth is a industry standard protocol which comes with its own security concerns. So the concern is it doesn't support modern auth. It still uses the basic auth. We all know the issues about the basic auth. It only requires a username and password to authenticate. Now, because it uses only basic auth, it is very much prone to abuse. Attackers and spammers often use compromised accounts and this SMTP auth client protocol to send large emails to the user. Like they use this scenario to, as a spamming to other users. So what we are doing in this space, currently in Exchange Online, this SMTP auth client submission protocol is enabled for all your mailboxes by default. Even if you need it or you don't need it, this protocol is enabled. So as a proactive step going forward for any new tenant, we will be making this protocol disabled by default. Tenant admins will still have an option to go and enable it for any mailbox that they want, because you might have valid reasons to still use SMTP auth protocol, so you can still do that. So that was for the new tenants. And going after new tenants, we will also be looking into all the existing tenants that have never used this protocol in past. And of course, there will be enough communication from our side in form of message posts and blogs before we do anything with the existing tenants. So this is what I talked about that we proactively are thinking to do. But at the same time, there are some proactive steps that you can do as of today, and you don't have to wait for this feature to roll out or for the new tenants. There are tools that are already available. There are already PowerShell commands that are available to you, using which you can globally disable the SMTP auth client submission for your tenant. And for your tenant or for your mailboxes. And at the same time, recently we have also released the UI, apart from the PowerShell commands, we have also released the UI for mailboxes for you to disable or enable SMTP auth client protocol. And I'm going to very quickly show you where exactly you can find that setting. You would be going in Microsoft M365 Admin Center, clicking on active users, click on any mailbox where you want to enable or disable this particular SMTP auth client submission protocol. On the right, on the flyout on the right, you will see mail. Under that mail, it will be an email app. And clicking on that email app, you will find this authenticated SMTP as a UI. So this setting is at the mailbox level. You can use this UI. Now, as we have seen the security concerns for SMTP auth protocol, what you can also do is there is an existing report in Mailflow dashboard that I showed a few slides earlier, which as of today you will be finding in security and compliance portal. There is a report named SMTP auth client report. You can leverage that report. You can analyze the data for your tenant, and you can see the mailboxes. I mean, you can find out the areas and the users that are still using SMTP auth protocol, and you can kind of audit them and see whether they really require it or not. And then you can proactively disable the SMTP auth client protocol for all the other mailboxes that doesn't require it. And lastly, if you have valid reasons to still use this less secure protocol, please upgrade all the email devices to TLS 1.2. As Microsoft has taken a stand where we will be disabling or deprecating TLS, or we will not be supporting TLS 1.0 and 1.1 June 2020 coming very soon. So in order to secure this, in order to make the security state of your organization better, we are asking you to please upgrade your services to TLS 1.2. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Kevin.
Lena, thank you so much. Lena. And now back to boring me. Just real quick, the last thing I just want to talk about is like we are the transport team. We're a plumbing team, but we are oh so much more. We're bringing a lot of goodness, we think, to both the email users and to the admins. And if you have stuff that, you know, maybe been niggling at you for like years and you'd like to see taken care of, come talk to us. Go up to User Voice. Here's a couple different links to it. A lot of people have done that. We took that and we used that to inform some of the plans that we had and the plans that we have moving forward, from plus addressing to customizable recipient limits to message recall. And do you have the clicker here? There is one thing I wanted to mention, that we will listen to this, and chances are at some point we will probably do something about it, or we certainly will take it into consideration. There is one thing, though, we will not take into consideration. No matter how much you care about this, we will not bring Clippy back, okay? Sorry. 15 minutes of fame a long time ago, just let go of it. It's time to move on. So anyway, thank you again so much. Here's some other sessions real quick. Some of them you've already seen before. There's still some more sessions, Outlook and Exchange sessions coming up. So take a look at those if you haven't planned to do so. And we thank you for your attention and your participation. Thank you.